Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com for life coaching and mentoring. Let's talk to the younger guys today. Let's talk about women. Mate selection. What type of women should you stay away from? Who should you avoid? Now this list could go on forever, and I may need some of you older guys my age to chime in the comments and to add some ideas of what you think of what type of women should these younger guys be hyper aware of to navigate around. I mean, we go through this, and many of us have had to learn this the hard way, unfortunately. So I think the first one is pretty obvious. Stay away from the whores, or the hooas, as my friend from Philly says. Stay away from the hooas. Now that's a big heading, because the whores could be actual prostitutes. Don't date an actual prostitute. What are you, insane? But don't date a porn star either. I don't care how hot she is. I don't care if she flies in on a cloud. She's a porn star, you fuck her and move on. I suggest against one-night stands. I've been suggesting against premarital sex to some guys these days anyways. Just seems like a good idea in my head, but you do what you want. Just don't fall in love with a hoe. And this includes strippers. I know a stripper isn't selling penetration. She's still selling sex though. Stay away from all sex workers. OnlyFans models or anybody who's doing any kind of sex pictures. Even Instagram has a function where you can pay and you'll have access to slightly dirty pictures. Stay away from any kind of woman like that. Even if she has a dating profile or social media of any kind, look through her photos, and if she has photos of her in bikinis, bending over, spread legs, trying to be sexy, showing off what she's got, I suggest staying away from those. Are not good girls. That's just my opinion. So stay away from the whores. I mean, you really want to get to know a girl, and it may be difficult for you to have a conversation about what they call body count, how many people she's slept with. Sometimes that conversation can be had after you've got to know somebody. It's a little easier, I should say, to have it after you've got to know somebody, as you're getting closer towards deciding whether you want to be in a relationship with them. But if you're in the beginning, just dating stage, it's hard to bring that up. However, there'll be certain signs and signals, and you can be aware of if you're dealing with somebody who just seems like she's gotten around the whole town. She's been around town a few times. She's given everybody a turn. So that's the first warning, is stay away from the whores. The next one, stay away from the psychos. Stay away from the psycho chicks. Now, psycho chicks could be, that's also a big heading. They could be depressed women. Everybody has experienced depression before. And I've had a history of depression. I feel like I've worked my way through it over the years. But just because someone has been depressed before or has a history of mental health issues doesn't mean they're a bad person and that they're not worth marrying. Somebody who's still going through this right now is a red flag. Somebody who's still depressed, who hasn't learned any lessons, hasn't worked through this, hasn't studied it all, doesn't even know anything about a mind, body, and soul program. That's new to them, never heard of it. These are all red flags. Because you're going to be playing psychiatrist and daddy and all these issues. You're going to be everything but a husband. It's going to be a nightmare after a while. You're going to get real sick of it. But this also includes angry women. An angry woman is a no good woman. Not worth anything. Worthless women are the angry ones. They're worthless. And you can tell those pretty easy. Some of them are just downright ornery. They hate men, and it's pretty obvious. But they're not, those ones aren't looking for a mate. They'll send you code little signals, and they'll say stuff like, I'm looking for that one good man. The one good man to prove, me wrong, that all men are dogs, or whatever. You've heard, especially women that get closer to my age, they start saying this shit. They're so jaded because they've gone from one shitty relationship to the next, and they get this kind of sour taste in their mouth about all men. They start making these blanket statements about all men. It's kind of like racism, where maybe you had one or two bad experiences with somebody of a different race, and then you go around saying, yeah, they're all like this, and then next thing you know, you're just some racist. Stay away from those types of women. There's a man hating angry women. Stay away from the opportunists, the gold diggers. They're just looking for a come up. Now, there's nothing wrong with offering someone the world. I'd take and make a chick a queen. Snap you right out of that little life, that little shitty little life of yours. But don't expect that shit. And no paycheck. I don't mind being a handyman. I enjoy fixing stuff. Just as a guy, I like to fix things. But I'm not your hired help. I don't work for you. Don't ever forget the pecking order. I think it's also a good idea to stay away from what they call modern women. Because a modern woman is going to be in a war against the patriarchy, trying to replace it with a matriarchy. So there's going to be this inherent battle of this feminism kind of against men, that she's trying to compete with you. You don't want a woman who's trying to compete with you. You want a woman who understands gender identity, who understands the role, gender roles, traditional gender roles. And sure, you don't have to be living in the 1950s like some weirdo. But it is nice when you're in a relationship with somebody who understands their roles, and you let her be a woman and she lets you be a man. And that's what you like about each other, is you're different creatures. We're not the same. We can never be equal because we're not the same. I think it's a good idea to really get to know somebody and to avoid sex before the relationship gets too heated, but that, it's up to you. And to find out what their worldview is, what their politics are. Because you don't want to be sitting here watching the news, shaking your fist at protesters while she's out in the protest with a sign in her hand. That's a fucked up relationship. It helps to be on the same page, politically, religiously. Have a conversation about some of the hard stuff. Religious stuff. If you have a belief in a higher power, whatever your religion is, Muslim, Jew, Christian, Buddhist, whatever it is, and she's just an atheist or a nihilist, that's not going to work. So that's some of the ideas that I can think of. I don't have any notes, I'm just kind of brainstorming off the top of my head. What type of women should you young guys avoid? So maybe some of you guys can help me out further this list. Food for thought. Thanks for watching.